The humble yet iconic blue and white Power Macintosh G3 was released to much fanfare in early 1999, a full 2 years before yours truly entered this world. This particular model was acquired in the summer of 2020, amidst COVID-fueled boredom and stimulus money that burned way too deep a hole in my pocket, and in the years since that cursed summer, it has lived through 5 different moves, just to sit and collect dust on a shelf or in a storage unit, and has come out looking rather worse for wear. Well now, in the year of our Lord 2024, that is all about to change. Because I have dragged this old disheveled piece of Apple history out into the light after years of neglect to accomplish a task perhaps even more cursed than the pandemic that led it into my collection. We're going to attempt to install Windows NT 4.0 on this machine, a task that was never even supposed to be possible. But gee, how is that even possible, you may ask? Well, Windows NT 3.5 and 4.0 supported PowerPC, among other CPU architectures, a fact that is helpfully pointed out on my install disk. However, it is only supported on machines using the short-lived PowerPC reference platform developed by IBM and not for Power Macintosh systems. However, that all changed in the summer of 2024 thanks to the efforts of a developer named Wacko on GitHub. They were able to create the bootloader and drivers needed to install Windows NT 4.0 on certain PowerPC Mac models, including my very own PowerMac G3. Now this video is by no means a tutorial. If that's what you're looking for, there are far better videos made by people who know way more than me about what they're doing. But with that being said, follow along with me as I explore this ancient computer and attempt to get it to do something it was never intended to do in the first place, and serves no practical purpose in this modern day and age. Maybe it'll wish I left it in storage to die in peace. So let's take a look at this G3 right here. Obviously, it has seen much better days. This thing has gone through, I think, like 4 different moves in 2 different states, and somewhere along the way the side panel has been cracked. So this thing is definitely way past its prime. We'll just do a quick tour around here. Fresh off the shelf, dusty. Here we have our rear I/O, FireWire, ADB, Ethernet, modem, USB, audio. We've got a video card and a SCSI card here. And let's just see what's inside this bad boy. Here we got the insides of the computer. Your G3 right here. And everything looks to be pretty good. I'm kind of just looking around here to see if we have any blown capacitors or anything leaking or anything that would indicate that we would set the magic smoke free if we were to boot this computer up. And I am not really seeing anything. I'm going to take this PRAM battery out. These things are notorious for exploding. I might as well take it out now while I have this thing open. Everything looks good, so... Now, like I said before, this computer has not been used since the midst of the COVID pandemic back in 2020. So that's the last time this thing has been powered on. So I don't know what's on here, if there's anything on here that's important, anything on here that's worth saving. We're going to take a look at what's on the computer right now before we actually get to installing Windows NT and messing with it. Time to plug in the scariest cable, the power cable. Hopefully we don't hear any... Lights flickered a bit, but I'm sure that's fine. Alright, so we got our machine all hooked up. Let's get this thing booted and see what's on here. Alright, so we heard a chime, so that is a good sign. And something from the display. Let's see what's installed on here. Ooh. Oh. That is not good. We're in open firmware right now. Let's just type Mac boot. No idea why we're in open firmware. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the fact that I took out the PRAM battery, but let's... Hopefully this isn't a bad omen. Hopefully this... Bruh. Let's just try hitting the reset button. Let's see. Okay, now we have a mouse cursor. And, okay, I guess I just had to hit the reset button, and now we're booting into macOS 8.6. So, and I hear hard drive activity, so we're booting into macOS. So, whatever that was, hopefully that wasn't a bad omen for the rest of the video here. Alright, so we've been sitting here for a solid 30 seconds or so, and we have no activity besides the Welcome to macOS screen. So I'm starting to wonder if the hard drive in this thing has failed, but let's just hit the reset button one more time and see what happens. So yeah, I hear a little bit of initial hard drive activity, and then nothing. And then it just hangs on this macOS 8.6 screen. Alright, so I've let it hang on the screen again. We're going to try to boot into macOS one more time. We're going to try disabling extensions, which I believe you do by holding the Shift key. So we'll see if we can get it to boot into Mac OS without extensions and get some sort of response from Mac OS on this thing. If not, I guess we'll just skip straight to the Windows NT install and hope that nothing important was on this hard drive. All right. So we're booting without extensions on, and it seems to be progressing a little bit more this time. We actually have a progress bar, and I'm not gonna jinx it. Okay, we've gotten further. We're frozen again. Yeah, we got nothing. Alright, so it appears as though we have a failing hard drive on this machine. For the life of me, I can't get Mac OS to start up. I've tried resetting the PRAM, tried booting it with extensions off, and we either get hung up on the Mac OS booting screen, or we get hung up on this screen here with the beautiful flying toaster background. So, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and try to install Windows NT here on this failing hard drive. What could go wrong? But just in case that doesn't work, I did dig up this 20 gigabyte Western Digital IDE drive here, just in case the hard drive is truly cooked and we need to continue without it. But you know what? The show must go on, so we're going to go ahead and try with the Windows NT install. But before we get started, we actually need to dig out some additional accessories. So we're saying goodbye to this USB keyboard and mouse we have here. Where we're going, we will not be needing USB peripherals because this Windows NT 4 actually does not have USB. Okay, I guess I just needed a little patience because in the middle of me doing that, me blabbing and talking, we seem to have gotten Mac OS loaded. So I guess I just needed to be patient for a little bit, and here we are. We actually have Mac OS 8 loaded now. It just went ahead. So we'll see what's on here before we go ahead and that's interesting. Just going ahead to see what's on the desktop here. Must have been set at a different resolution. See if we can if we can't get the resolution up a bit so we can use the screen properly here. Let's see. So far, because I thought that was just going to be a clean installation of Mac OS 8 on here. It turns out, oh yeah, because I booted without extensions. Oh yeah. Okay, so it looks like I'm not gonna bother changing the Yep, because extensions are disabled. All right, so I'm not. You know what? Changing the resolution's not worth it. We're gonna stick with what we got here for our resolution because I do not want to try rebooting this machine again. Might as well see what's on here while we have it. So I thought this would just be a plain bare bones install of Mac OS 8. Turns like it isn't. Turns like I was playing around with this thing a bit last time I used it. So. We have your standard browse the internet, get QuickTime Pro, PowerMac G3, register with Apple. But we also have this Backstreet Boys puzzle folder. I'll bet you this isn't going to load because it's in German, and I need the CD-ROM. Looks like we have Mac OS 10 on one partition and Mac OS 8 on the other partition. Because this is the... What the hell? Okay. We are just going to ignore that. And I obviously have forgotten how to use classic Mac OS, or I'm getting camera shy. Some OS 9 games, some Battle Chess. We got Battle Chess, SimCity 3000. Looks like I was using this for games mainly. And there is Mac OS 10 installed on here. I wonder what version. So it looks like I had this set up for a dual boot with Mac OS 10 and Mac OS 9. Let's see if we can go to the startup disk control panel. Yeah, it's not going to tell me. It's not going to tell me what version. Wow, it actually looks like there's quite a bit on here. The more I play with this, the less eager I am to nuke this and install Windows NT, honestly. I don't know if the hard drive is actually failing, though. If the hard drive is failing, there's really no sense in keeping this. Let's go to About This Computer and see what we're packing here. So we got 576 megs of RAM. Hopefully that won't be too much for Windows NT. I don't think it will be. I know Windows 98 has the 512 megabyte limit. I don't think Windows NT does, because it's a different kernel and whatnot. And so let's see if we can go to the Apple System Profiler and see our CPU speed. And that is fun. Bruh. So we got the skinny. Oh my god. You know what? Let's try restarting Mac OS with extensions, because I'm getting sick of this. Let's see if we can get our extensions back. Okay, and I guess it decided it wants to boot into Mac OS 10. So I don't know if I maybe, when I was messing with the startup disk control panel, if I maybe accidentally selected the Mac OS 10 partition, but obviously it's decided it wants to boot up into Mac OS 10 now. So that is what we're doing. Oh god. Who is Carol Woodard? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A. 1. Password. The password was password. Let's see. If I had to guess what version's on here, I'm going to guess 10.3. And let's see what version we're running. 10.3.9. God, I'm a genius. And we have a 400 megahertz PowerMac G3 with 576 megabytes of memory. Looks like we got quite an array of memory installed here. We got two 128 meg sticks, a 256 meg, and a 64 meg. We got an ATI Rage 128 as the graphics card, although it's calling itself an ATY instead of an ATI, which is fun. Running 800 by 600 resolution with 32-bit color and 16 megs of VRAM. So very nice, very nice, very nice. Let's change the display resolution first. Something a bit better than 800 by 600. Okay, I guess we're going into 640 by 480. Okay. Yep. And the monitor's bitching and complaining at me. I'm gonna do 1024 by 768. I'm not sure off of the top of my head what the maximum resolution of this monitor is. And I'm at the point where I do not want to experiment until I can find. So let's just do 1024 by 768 at 60 hertz and call it a day. And then let's just let's explore the computer a bit. There's a lot of stuff on here actually. I'm at the point now where I'm thinking I don't want to nuke this Mac OS install. I'm glad it finally Windows Media Player. Why? Why? You have QuickTime right here. Why? On a Mac of this era. Let's get into disk utility. Are there 2 hard drives in here? Hold up. Because this looks like 2 different drives. Oh yeah, shit. We got 2 hard drives in this computer. I can't believe I didn't notice that when I was, probably shouldn't do that. I can't believe I didn't notice that when I was initially looking at it, or I'm just a complete idiot, because yeah, there are definitely 2 hard drives installed here. And this one's just kind of dangling, so this one's kind of just raw dogging it, which honestly might contribute to why it's failing, because I believe this is probably the one Mac OS 8 is installed on, which is very interesting. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this top hard drive, and I'm just going to slot in this Western Digital wherever I put it. It doesn't really need to be in frame actually, but I'm just going to slot in that Western Digital 20 gig drive, and I believe that's going to be the drive I'm going to use with this machine, just for the Windows NT install, because I really don't want to lose anything on these drives, because now that I'm playing with it, it looks like there's some interesting stuff on these drives. So I'm gonna go ahead and install that 20 gig hard drive, disconnect the other hard drive, and we're just gonna start fresh with that drive installing Windows NT. So we'll be right back. I believe this is the original drive, because it's a 40 gig Seagate. It's got the Apple logo on it. I don't know if I did this or if the previous owner did this, because this other drive here is It's also got the Apple. It's an IBM drive with the Apple logo on it. So these are both OEM Apple drives, and they're separated with a plastic bag. So this looks like something my dumbass would do. I don't know if this was me or if this is the original owner. This bottom one looks to be probably the drive with OS 8. And it's a 9 gigabyte IBM hard drive, which 9 gigabytes is a weird amount of capacity. And this one here is a 40 gigabyte Seagate. And they both have the Apple logo, indicating they were both OEM drives. Don't think there's a Mac partition. Oh my god. I don't know if this is a good drive, folks. Before we can get into the Windows NT of it all, we actually need to change up peripherals. We need to ditch the USB keyboard and mouse for an ADB keyboard and mouse. So I've dug out my least crusty ADB keyboard. My most telegenic one here, and my most crusty ADB mouse. So, you guys like nicotine? We got nicotine. So we're gonna go ahead and get these ADB accessories connected, and we're gonna pop the Windows NT disk in, and we're gonna see. Oh my god, there's probably a power button on the keyboard, isn't there? Scared the fuck out of me. Yeah, there is a power button on this keyboard, which is, very nice, actually. Soft power button. But we're going to go ahead and grab the homemade disc that I burnt. Burned this disc with the ISO image that I grabbed from the GitHub for this project. And you need that first, and you need to boot off of that, because obviously you can't boot off of the Windows NT installer disk, because it was never meant to boot on a Mac. It was meant to boot on the PowerPC reference. So we're gonna reset the machine, and we're gonna restart it up while holding the C key to try to boot off of that. And I don't know what's up with that hard drive because I'm not hearing it anymore. So this hard drive might be cooked. Oh, and we're booting off of the we got the disk here. So let's I'm kind of just raw dogging this here, so I'm gonna consult the GitHub real quick because I honestly wasn't expecting to get this far. So we got to go ahead and hit Run Firmware Setup. And I've just kind of got the GitHub pulled up on the screen next to me. I really didn't do any preparing or studying or whatnot for this. I didn't read it ahead of time. I'm just kind of raw dogging this here. So we're supposed to be able to partition disk for NT installation. And it looks like I think this drive is cooked. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this drive is indeed cooked. So we are actually gonna look for another IDE hard drive, and we'll be right back. Alright, so I went off into the garage, and I grabbed every IDE hard drive I could get my grubby little bits on. We're going to start off trying this 40 gig Western Digital drive here. So we're just going to one after another try these drives until we get one that works. So we know that this 20 gig Western Digital drive, probably knew it from the sound immediately when I plugged it in. That drive is cooked. So we're gonna go ahead and do this 40 gig drive here. So the new 40 gig Western Digital drive is installed in the machine, and this one right here is destined right for the e-waste pile. I'm gonna set that boy aside. So we're gonna go ahead and power it up, hold the C key, see what we get. Already this drive is sounding much better than the last drive. Alright, so we're back here, and let's see if we get any life out of this drive. So back over to our ADB keyboard, and let's run firmware setup. Partition disk for NT. We got nothing. So we got the IDE cables switched around, and let's see if we can have any more luck this time. I definitely hear something from this drive. Right, let's what the? You know what I'm gonna do actually? There's two IDE cables. There's the one for the hard drive, one for the optical drive, and the zip drive. I'm gonna real quick try moving the hard drive out of the hard drive bay and moving it up to where the zip drive is. Swap out the zip drive for the hard drive, because I think I remember watching another video of somebody much smarter than me attempting this, and they were able to get, they had to install it where the zip drive is. So we'll be right back. So it is now 2 days later, and we seem to hopefully finally have all the issues sorted. So what I did off camera was I unplugged the IDE cable that was running up to the optical drive and the zip drive, disconnected that, grabbed another IDE cable and ran that. Instead of removing the zip drive, I just ran another IDE cable to the optical drive and to the hard drive, and we seem to be working now. So if I go ahead and run firmware setup, partition disk, you see the hard drive is showing up now. So that is a good sign. Hopefully now we can proceed without any further errors. So let's just go right ahead and partition the disk. I'm just going to go ahead and do the maximum size I can do of the NT partition, which is about 8 gigs, so 80/30. And we're going to go ahead and hit enter. Alright, remaining disk space. I'm just going to finish partitioning and install. We're not going to worry about a dual boot or anything because that is above my pay grade. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and nuke this drive here and turn a 40 gigabyte drive into an 8 gigabyte drive. It looks like we have successfully partitioned and installed the firmware. So now we need to restart and boot from the CD again. So I'm going to hold C on the keyboard. Alright, and it says drivers.image RAM disk has been loaded. So I just have the GitHub pulled up here. I'm kind of just raw dogging this. Now that we have the drive partitioned, we have the firmware set up, and we have the driver RAM disk loaded, we should be able to take out the boot CD and enter in our Windows NT installation disk. Insert that installation disk right now, and then we need to go to run a program to run. So we should be able just to hit enter, and it should. Hey, we're in Windows NT setup. Alright. So off of the Windows NT disk. Alright, setup cannot determine the type of computer have you chosen to manually specify the computer type. Select the computer type from the following list. So we're going to go other. Alright, and I think this is the RAM disk it's referring to. Yes, it is the RAM disk. Alright, so we have a Power Macintosh G3. So setup is loading files. So I'm going to determine the type of one or more mass storage devices installed in your system. You've chosen to manually specify an adapter. I do not. I'm going to just go press enter. Alright, setup cannot determine the type of video installed in the system. I know we have an ATI Ray. Alright guys, so I did not RTFM. I went on the GitHub to consult what I should do for the graphics driver, and I gotta quit setup and restart the computer because I did not read the manual and I messed up. I was supposed to, for the mass storage device, select something else. So let's go through and just for good measure, let's restart it and start this process all over again. We're back at the Windows NT setup, so we're actually going to follow setup according to the way the manual says to. So much for raw dogging this. I'm glad so we need to press S, and then other, and then we'll load the driver off the RAM disk, and we will do Mac IO IDE controller. Enter. Alright, and for graphics drivers, we got to go other. Open firmware frame buffer. Setup did not find a keyboard connected to your computer. Okay. Don't know what we did differently this time, but after a quick restart and run through, we're not getting that no keyboard connected error again, so very nice. So let's see, let's go ahead, and I'm just consulting the GitHub real quickly. It looks like, fingers crossed, it looks like at this point we could just run through setup as normal, but I you know, I anticipate I probably will run into an issue, if not because of my sheer stupidity and arrogance, really. Enter the following mass storage devices in your computer. Alright, I think we're good. Enter. Alright. Read through the software license agreement and F8 to sign my soul away to Microsoft. And I believe we do have to change a couple things. Change keyboard from unknown to XT, AT, or enhanced keyboard. And pointing device, I believe I have to change pointing device from unknown to no mouse or other pointing device. Alright, and then I believe now we can run setup as normal. And we want to install Windows NT on the 8GB NTFS partition. Don't think we need to format. I think we can just leave the current file system intact since it's already formatted as NTFS. Windows NT onto your hard disk, sure, why not? Setup will now examine your hard disk, all set up. I am going to skip check disks because I'll bet you there'll be an error with my luck. Alright, requires a bruh. Alright, I guess we're rebooting, so let's swap back to our boot disk and then press F3 to reboot. Alright. Another disk swap. We're back at the Windows NT setup. Let's agree to the software license for this ungodly pursuit. And now I guess we're at setup is copying files, so must have done something right. So I guess we just sit back and enjoy the show. Alright, this portion of setup has completed successfully. Press enter to restart your computer. When your computer restarts, setup will continue. So I'm wondering if we need the boot disk again. I'm just going to go ahead and press enter, see if we'll boot off the hard drive, or if we need the boot disk. So I'm guessing I just answered my question. I'm guessing we need the boot disk. Oh, and now we have a new option on the boot disk. Start Windows NT Workstation 4.0. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and let it do its thing. And it looks like we're now in the graphical portion of setup. So, wonder if my mouse is working. Probably get my hopes up. Oh, and we do have the mouse working, albeit quite slowly. So that is wonderful. So we need to do another disk swap to put the Windows NT disk in. Click OK. And we're off to the races. It feels so ungodly using the Mac mouse and keyboard to install Windows. Should we do typical, or should we tempt fate with the custom install? Entered our name, Andy, and organization, Unholy Computer. Fun fact, my Windows NT disk does not have a product key. Off to the internet to find a Windows NT 4.0 product key. Internet to the rescue. Was able to find a CD key on Beta Archive, old Beta Archive forum. Enter a computer name. Password. Can I not set a password? I guess I can not set a password. No, I do not need an emergency repair disk. Let's see what accessories can we get. I want everything. Desktop. I want everything. Games. Hell yeah, I want games. Multimedia. Oh. Just check all. Windows messaging. Perfect. Alright. Installing Windows NT networking. I do believe the network adapter is not going to have drivers, so I'm not even going to bother with networking at this moment. Just go ahead and finish setup. Alright, time zone. Thinks it's August 2040. Close. Labor Day. And 11:09 a.m. Time is 9:09 a.m. Do we just hit close? There's no OK button, so I guess we'll just hit close. Looks like 640 by 480 is our only supported resolution. I'll just take that for now. And we're copying files. Alright, Windows NT 4.0 has been successfully installed. Remove the disks from the floppy drives, compact disks from CD-ROM drives, and choose Restart Computer. So I'm going to go ahead and swap back to the boot disk, because I think I'm going to need the boot disk every single time, which is fine. Let's restart computer. First boot of our new Windows NT installation. Let's start Windows NT Workstation 4. And here we go. Press Ctrl-Alt-Delete to log on. And no password. And here we are. Oh my god, we have Windows NT 4.0 running. Oh my god, just the fact that I'm running Windows on a PowerMac G3 using an ADB keyboard and mouse is just quite the oh my god. Looks like we're still stuck at 640 by 480 true color, so that seems to be our display settings. Microsoft Plus. Oh my god. So yeah, this is Windows NT 4. So let's just see what we can do in here. First, I want to try to increase the mouse tracking speed because I'm getting real sick of this. So let's try that. Oh yeah. Okay, this is well, it's better. Not perfect, but it's better. All right, so there we are. Let's just kind of play around in the control panel, see what we got here. I cannot believe this. Let's play some games. You already know. You already know we're about to play some pinball. This game's not quite as fun without the sound. I'm just amazed that we got this working. All right, that's enough of that. So yeah, this is I really don't know what else to say. I mean, this is Windows. This D drive, is this our RAM drive? Looks to be. So yeah, this is just bog standard Windows right here. So looks like it came with Microsoft Plus, which is always nice. I mean, I did install everything. So yeah, here we are. We have Windows NT Workstation running on a PowerMac G3, albeit with very limited display drivers and no audio drivers to speak of. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it over here for this video, folks. I think I'm just gonna call it a video here. Maybe we'll do some more stuff with this system in the future. But for now, I think we're gonna call it a day. We managed to get Windows NT 4.0 installed on a PowerMac G3 for God knows why. And it's just really amazing that in the year of our Lord 2024 they were able to get this working. So huge shout out to the developers on the GitHub that were able to get this installed. The link to that will be in the description. Now, this was not by any means a tutorial video. There are far more videos you can find with people who know what they're doing more. But we're gonna call it a video here, folks, and I'll see if we'll do anything with this system in the future. But see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.